Alrighty, here we are on the InfoWars. Pelosi blames Biden for election loss. Ah, yes, the blame game. Well, let's get into it. Pelosi blames Biden for Kamala Harris's disastrous defeat in the presidential election, saying that if the president had exited the race sooner, it would have been different. Pelosi speaking to the New York Times podcast when she made the comments. Had the president gotten out sooner, there would have been other candidates in the race, Pelosi explained. The anticipation was that if the president were to step aside, that there would be an open primary. And as I say, Kamala may have. I think she would have done well. No, she already had a primary in 2019. Democratic presidential primary debate. Gabbard gained attention for her stinging criticism of Harris's record. So in other words, Harris was terrible in 2019, and she would have been terrible in 2024. You put her in a debate with other Democrats like RFK or Tulsi Gabbard, she would show just how terrible she was, and everybody would see it, and people would go, wait, she was in charge of the border? She was VP? So I think I've said this a few times, but 3 reasons why Biden picked her as VP. 1, female of color. 2, Harris berated Biden for something called busing, and then after he picked her as VP, she stopped talking about it. You know what? I got some clips. I'll pop them in.
To hear you talk about the reputations of 2 United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, you know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the 2nd class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
So she goes from being all passionate and fired up to...
It was a debate.
Not everybody landed punches like you did, though.
It was a debate.
So you don't mean it?
It was a debate. That the whole reason, literally, it was a debate. It was called a debate.
I understand.
Traveled to the debate. There were journalists there covering the debate where there would be a debate of differences of opinion and issues.
So yeah, in my opinion, that's why they made her VP, so she wouldn't bring up that whole busing stuff anymore. 3rd reason, maybe Biden wanted someone who wouldn't outshine him. Kind of like why, in my opinion anyway, Obama picked Biden. Anyway, let's continue with the article. Because the president endorsed Kamala Harris immediately, that really made it almost impossible to have a primary at that time. Again, press X to doubt. I mean, she's the VP. Isn't he supposed to endorse her? Because he picked her to be his replacement. Isn't that what a VP is? If something happens to the president, the VP steps up? And again, if she had a primary, would it be rigged or not? What do I mean by that? What happened to RFK Jr.? What happened to Tulsi Gabbard? Why did they side with Trump? How did they go from being Democrats, lifelong Democrats, to Republicans? The 2 Democrats that could have opposed Trump and the Democratic elite shrugged them off. Pelosi was also asked about Senator Bernie Sanders' comment that the Democratic Party had abandoned its traditional working class constituents in favor of an obsession with identity politics. Well, the problem with the working class, according to, Chuck Schumer and Bill Clinton, they're not reproducing enough, so they have to replace them. And how do you replace them? Well, you got to bring in lots of foreigners. hence why the border was blown open. And a good way to distract the people from all the replacements coming in, identity politics. Race, ethnicity, sex, religion, and when everybody's divided, it's a lot easier to control them because you can just pander to each little group. Moreover, each group, they're so busy fighting with all the other groups that they don't see that they're being slowly replaced by foreigners. Well, anyway, that's just my thoughts on this issue. Take care out there in Clown World.